Good evening, one and all. My name is Craig Buck, and I'm the regional manager here at Shiminli. Thanks for taking out time and being a part of this webinar that brings together a community of educators who wish to bring in changes to the system of education to suit the needs of the hour. We talk about importance of skills and learn from each other on ideas and implementation of these skills in the classroom. Today's webinar, we have our eminent speakers who shall bring to table their experience on importance of skills and how to recognize essential skills for innovation and entrepreneurship. They talk from their rich experience on ideas to enhance curriculum to promote innovation and entrepreneurship. We have come together today on this platform provided to us by Shiminli. I thank Shiminli for the same. Let me introduce Shiminli to you. Shimin, a Japanese word that means citizen, and Shiminli is an edtech platform that aims to create global citizens. Shiminli provides skill-based programs to both schools and individuals with the belief that students need holistic education to shape up as resilient, confident individuals who are ready to prosper in the real world. With the vision to create these future-ready citizens, Shiminli provides lessons to students that focuses on development of skills and academic skills with professionally trained teachers from across the globe. To spread these ideas, we plan to host this and many more such webinars. And to begin with the learning that we look forward to today, I would like to introduce to you our speakers. Padmaja Ambati Puri, currently an entrepreneur in the healthcare industry, has been an educationist for the past 16 years. It has been a journey full of learning, which she simply cherishes. She had the opportunity to teach and be a part of the administration in multiple curriculums like state, CBSE, ICSE, and Cambridge. She always wanted to let the students experience the subject rather than just read from the textbook and impart practicality into their minds. Even now, at every possible opportunity, she continues to contribute to make learning a practical and enjoyable experience. Ms. Padmaja is an experienced trainer who has conducted workshops for both teachers and parents. She has introduced technology-oriented subjects like robotics for students. An individual who believes in sincerity, individuality, innovativeness, and creativity, and strives to constantly upgrade herself. She believes in teamwork and ensures that tasks are accomplished efficiently. She aims to create an open working culture which stimulates a path for innovation and personal growth. Her strength in imparting technology-based education brings her here with us to talk about gamification. Welcome, ma'am. Ms. Rachna Kotipalli is a trained educator. She was the former PYPC at Silver Oaks International School, Bangalore. Over the past 12 years, she has enriched her experience as an IB/PYB facilitator while working at Oak Ridge International
Good evening,
School.
all.
Yeah, at Oak Ridge International School and Silver Oak International School. She was one of the top 25 mentors of the country of Think CIQ AIM Awards 2016. As a PYP educator, she discovered that when teachers appreciate the uniqueness of each learner, when they make conscious efforts to connect with them and work closely with parents, then learners become more fruitful. She thinks the world is beginning to discover the power of soft skills that can prepare learners to take on the challenges of 21st century. She believes in the power of educators who adopt a growth mindset and continuously pursue excellence in their practice. The power of questioning and reflection keeps her excited about inquiry learning and enabling learners' agency. Her love for learning and collaborating with fellow educators brings her here today with us. Let us welcome Ms. Rachna. And with this, I would like to open up the discussion to you. Please take it ahead.
Hi, good evening, everyone.
Yeah, good evening, all.
Good evening.
Rachna, shall we start?
Yes.
Okay, so Today's webinar, we would like to start with an inspirational stories. These are not stories, actually, they are the real-time solutions which the children have found out, and they have executed it and implemented it and found and brought the end result out of it. Here we can see a lot of skills which are being implemented or which are being used by these children to get these kinds of ideas or innovations. So let us start with the first picture. You can see a man walking on the stairs with a torchlight. So there you can see it's the torchlight usually has light only on one direction, but then here you can see both the directions. Even downwards you see the light. So what happened was there is this boy, Muhammad Alisher. He is studying in class 12, and he happened to walk with his grandmother. So while he was walking, he actually was walking along with the torch, but since the torch was showing only on one direction, he fell in a pit. So that made him think to come up with an idea, with a solution. Why cannot the torch have two directional lights? So not only the idea had come up, he had put into practice, he had found the solution and he had executed it. And this is what he has innovated. Then when we can see in the other picture, a person, a child writing with a pen. So this innovation is nothing but the pen will check the concentration levels. So it gives a sensor is attached. So once the pen starts working, depending upon the way it is being used, the concentration levels can be checked. So this has been innovated by Rudra Prasad. He is studying in class 11th. So what happened was he is very much interested in solving physics numericals. He wants to pursue IIT. So one day, while he was working on the numericals, he couldn't concentrate himself. He was getting diverted. He was turning the topics. So that made him think that why can't he create a pen which will identify or which will sense that it is not the concentration levels are dipping. So once the concentration levels are dipping, indicator flashes, then the child might get back to the focus. So that is one more innovation done by a child. Then you can see a lady cleaning the fan. Usually when we clean fan, we avoid cleaning fan because it's very difficult to clean it. The blades, the top part of the blades, it's very difficult to clean. So the same thing happened with um, this his mother. His name is Atir. So while he was studying, he could see that his mother was struggling to clean the fan. So what he had done, a simple solution, he observed that she was suffering. Then he thought of a solution. Then he had implemented the solution and executed it. And you can see the end result where the fan blades can be folded and it can be cleaned easily. So this is actually, I feel, a very useful innovation for all the household ladies who clean who are into cleaning, who needs to, every festival we do this before the festival. And then you can see a lady who is where the watch, some alarm is ringing. So this is nothing but uh, alarm which gets ringed when a purse is lost. So this has been innovated by Pomya Konyak. She studies in class 9. So what happened was when they were walking, one of his friends' purse was lost by pickpocketers. So she has created a purse as a sensor purse. So that way we can catch hold of the person. So this is one more innovation done by a child. So these are the innovations or the real-time inspirational stories which we would like to share. because added to it, we would like to explain the skills which are involved in it, how we can enhance those skills, and as an educators, how we can identify the skills and encourage the students. So Rachna, would you like to talk more about the skills?
Yeah, thank you so much, Padmaja, for sharing those interesting stories. I personally feel stories are the best way to learn because they let us connect a lot with what they talk about. And these stories are real, and they are actual events that have happened in and around our community, and these children have responded to what they saw around them. So thank you so much, Padmaja, for bringing these stories to the table for discussion, because this will help us understand what is responsible for these children to actually reach the stage where they have done what they did. Because when we talk about skills that are important for innovation, we should talk about basic aspect of observation, because all of us live in this world, but not all of us are sensitive to the problems around us. But those who are sensitive, those who observe things with a keen mind, and identify a problem in a given situation, are the ones who might end up thinking about how to solve the problem. So the first key skill that we should talk about is observation skill, and then the sensitivity to problem, that is what is the problem in a given situation, is the most important skill that an individual must have to be an innovator as they go forward. So these children in these stories were very good observers. They were sensitive to what they saw around them. They were able to identify the problem in a given situation, and then they did not stop there. What they did was they empathized with these individuals who are actually facing the problem. It was not just their own problem, it was a problem of the people around them. So they were empathetic, they demonstrated good observation skills, they demonstrated sensitivity to a problem around them. So they were able to identify a given problem, and they were perseverant about the whole thought of responding to this problem, trying to solve it. So today what we will try and do is, we are going to try and break down this whole aspect of innovation and how innovation can be promoted within schools, in with respect to what kind of skills can we enable children to develop so that they can eventually become innovators. And probably a few of them might end up becoming entrepreneurs, because not everybody will end up becoming entrepreneurs. That is a very important thing we should remember. So that's one point I wanted to bring forth, Padmaja.
Yeah, actually, what you have said, the observation skills are very, very important, because right now, even most of the educationists, most of the educational organizations are focusing on the curriculum, the syllabus completion, and execution of the curriculum in a demonstration way. But in this process, what I feel is somewhere children are losing out the observation skills, what is happening around them, because they are so engrossed in demonstrating the curriculum what they have taught, maybe in an experimentation way, maybe in a in a scientific way, but then or in a playway way method, but then they have to also observe what is happening around them. As you have mentioned, the empathy here plays an important role when they observe these things. So because out of this empathy, these stories also showcase that they have found the difficulties people are facing. So out of so they wanted to find a solution out of it. So one is they have observed, and they have empathized about the situation, and they did not stop there. They have tried to implement it, and they have done some kind of given some kind of solution to these problems. Yeah, Rachna, you can go ahead with the skills.
Yeah, Greg, could you please move to the next slide? Thank you. Yeah, so like we were talking about, interestingly, this whole observation, the ability of individuals to observe what's happening around them, starts pretty early, when children are in very early years of their learning. And as educators, it becomes extremely important. I'm very confident that many educators are very sensitive to this fact that in early years there should be more focus on hands-on approach of learning, where children can actually see, feel, observe, and figure things out on their own. Why this picture made more sense to us is because Lego building is such a wonderful exercise for children to actually engage in touching, feeling, building things, breaking them, figuring out what best they can do, how best they can make a kind of a structure and things like that. So the idea is to convey that it all starts very, very early in children, that that these observation abilities can be developed at early years, and then it can progress as children can go if we can deliberately include such kind of engagements where children can actually observe problems around them and offer solutions to those problems and become more sensitive to what they observe around. Can we move to the next slide, please?
Here I would like to add one more thing.
Sure.
When they are building the Legos, sometimes what happens is they build very beautiful structures out of it, but somehow after they finish it, it crumbles, it falls down. So that also teaches them that they have to accept failures and take it up as a challenge and move ahead. These innovations which we are talking about is not done overnight. They must have tried n number of times. They must have come out with end products which are useless or which doesn't meet the requirement, but still they did not lose the hope. They took it up as a challenge for the next step, and they have come up with some of the important skills. Yeah, Rachna, you can
Yeah, your voice
explain the
was
skills.
clear. Yeah, okay. So these
Rachna, can you
we
hear
have.
me?
Yes, now we can hear you. There was some disturbance from your end. Your voice wasn't clear.
Okay.
So here what we tried to do was we tried to list out what are the essential skills in relation to innovation. Where if any child wants to, or if any school or any organization or any teacher wants to uh, explicitly work on developing the ability to innovate, then what are the skills that this teacher must focus on? What we try to do is we try to list out what is most essential in this case, right? So critical thinking is one skill which matters most. Like we talked about before, that everybody sees problems around them, but not everybody sees it with a sense of identifying that problem. So critical thinking becomes very important because it will give children a, a thought of reasoning out what they are seeing around them and why it is not working, or why is it not working or not working. They will be able to go research about it, identify what is right or wrong in the given problem, and then probably reason better with what they are noticing around them. So critical thinking becomes very, very important for any individual to develop the ability to innovate. Then obviously comes the ability of being very creative, because when you want to solve problems, you need to come up with very creative solutions. And we all know that creativity needs to extend. It cannot stop at one place, because if you want to scale your innovation as you go further, you need to be very, very creative. So creativity becomes a very important skill, and you should be able to offer new solutions to existing problems. And then collaboration becomes very, very important again, because when you are trying to solve problems, you should be able to work with a bunch of other individuals, try to communicate with them with more clarity, with more confidence, and be able to engage everyone in that kind of thinking and streamline the thinking process. Then the next skill that we felt is very important is computational thinking. What we meant by this, obviously this might be big, but then computational thinking, what we meant was also in relation to using subjects like mathematics and analytical abilities, science, and a little bit of statistics and all of these abilities so that they can solve these problems in a more effective manner. Then talking about skills, we must also talk about ability for these children to empathize and demonstrate attitudes like being flexible, being open to new ideas, being able to adapt to change in plans, and be able to be okay with sudden, change of ideas or sudden inclusion of new thoughts into the process. Then obviously leadership becomes very important, because we all know how important leadership can be in the process of innovation, because leadership is the most important thing for children to, for any individual for that matter, to build the whole idea and take it further and then build a market for it and do things like that at a bigger level. Then we thought about how any individual to be an innovator should be able to be proactive from their own self, because innovation should be something that is self-motivated than inspired or rubbed off by somebody. So any individual who can identify a problem, be sensitive to a problem, can respond to it, is always a person who is proactive and very, very curious about what is the problem, like how can I solve this and how can I stay enthusiastic till the end, that I actually resolve and give a solution to the problem that I'm seeing in front of me. And problem solving is what we have been talking about since the beginning, that your ability to see the problem, identify a problem, do that whole process of the root cause, what is causing this problem, analyze that, and then actually look at what are the practical ways that I can resolve this, how can I be very creative with my solution and be able to persevere in this whole process. So these are the key skills that if we can adopt into our classrooms. And it's interesting how Shiminli is also focusing on things like this, on skills like this, so that children actually develop that kind of innovative abilities within them. One other thing that we felt important is timely reflections, because when you are persevering at a problem, when you are looking at a long-term solution for things, it's never one time thing. You can't do it at one go and say, okay, this is done and we'll move on. But it's a very long-term process. So it's very, very important for enabling these children to able to take pauses, clarify their ideas, reflect on what has happened so far, whether it is with the problem itself, whether it is the way they are solving the problem, whether it is how they are collaborating as a team. It could be in any of these aspects. It's very important for them to understand that they need to take pauses, they need to reflect, they need to identify where their thinking is right, where is it wrong, and how they can better it, so that they can clarify that thinking process. So we feel skills and an effective reflection process both together can help children develop that ability to innovate. Yeah, Padmaja, do you want to add something?
I'm actually impressed with the picture, which speaks everything over here. The brain is entangled with a lot of things happening, but how you entangle them, how you systemize it, how you think about it, how you collaborate, the picture itself speaks a lot. So I would like to just I'm so impressed with the picture when Rachna has kept it, that it speaks skills which are required. So it's so lucky that Shiminli is also focusing on these skills, and we are being associated with Shiminli in this process, because innovativeness is something which cannot be nurtured at a later level. Innovativeness is something, as Rachna said, should be nurtured or should be encouraged at a young level, because what they observe, it has to be taken into consideration. Often we see that people or the parents saying that please don't observe, concentrate on your studies, but that is not the right thing. If they observe, they learn more, they understand more, and they come up with the solutions, they come up with the problem solving techniques, and they think critically, why is this happening? what could be the solution for it. And creativeness is something which is inbuilt, so it is different among different people, but then if they start thinking critically, if they start thinking creatively, that's when they come up with uh, better solutions. We see nowadays a lot of innovations in farming which are not cost effective. They just use bottles, they just use small equipment, and they come out with very good end results, be it in terms of seed planting, be it in terms of watering. So why can't we encourage them and give a platform? So I feel Shimanli is such an organization which gives platform to these children, encourages them. And again, I'm saying that we are happy to be part of this organization. Yes, Rachna.
I'm on mute. I'm sorry.
Next.
Yeah. So
slide.
we wanted to share a few more stories about talking about how innovation can fuel entrepreneurship. Like we said, innovation is stage 1 and entrepreneurship is stage 2. And we might have like lot of innovators, but not all innovations will find light as an idea that will go to the next level of entrepreneurship. So let's try and explore a few stories who have, I mean, the stories of those ideas which have seen the light as entrepreneurial level of ideas. So let's look at those ideas and try and understand how innovation can lead to the next step of entrepreneurship. Can we move to the this next slide, Craig? Yeah, thank you so much. Yes. Padmaja, do you want to talk about these stories? Okay, maybe I will start. So this first kid that you see here, I'm sorry, not this first kid. So this kid is a kid from Bangalore. So this kid had a very interesting approach towards the problem that he saw. What he noticed was he noticed that there is severe shortage of water in Bangalore, and at this very same time that this kid was trying to understand this problem, he was also working with an NGO which was actually focusing on real life problems around, you know, in that area. And interestingly, this kid was sensitive to this problem around him, and he figured he started thinking about this problem. And the story goes that this kid has taken a period of about 3 months to actually understand what is this problem, how much water is getting wasted in every household, and especially in his own household. And he is focused especially on the tap in his kitchen and the tap in his washroom, where he found that most water wastage happens. And he obviously did a lot of statistical analysis of, you know, how much water is actually, you know, coming out of the tap for so much time, and what can he do to reduce it. What he came up with is, if you can see this tap, the end of the tap, he has tried to fix this small kind of a sprinkler kind of aerator kind of a device. And clearly it's, this kid's innovation is not very expensive. It's a pretty cost effective device. It costed about 300 rupees for him to develop. And all it does is it tries to sprinkle the water at a higher pressure so that less water can be used more effectively. And what he did was, he initially installed these aerators in his grandmom's house, and then of course in his own house, and then he tried to analyze how the consumption of water in his and his grandma's house has reduced over time. And he had you know how water bills families get, right? So he saw that there is like rapid reduction in the amount of water consumption, and therefore the reduction in the amount of bill that these both households have received. And after that, again, this kid didn't stop there. What he did was, he went and started persuading. That's where he demonstrated a lot of leadership skill. He went to the communities, his own community, his grandmom's community, and persuaded the communities and people within the communities, and convinced them to install these aerators in their taps too. And interestingly, they accepted because the price was not a lot, and they noticed that there is rapid reduction in consumption of water. Again, he didn't stop there. He persevered further, and then he went to five-star hotels in Kerala. Maybe he has connections there, or I really do not know the backstory of that part, but he did contact a few hotels in Kerala. And because this hotel manager had a conscious mind towards the environment also, he agreed to this idea, and every room in the hotel was installed with these aerators, and even they have seen reduction in water usage. So this is one real life example where this child observed that there is a problem, demonstrated sensitivity and empathy towards the problem, and came up with a solution. Took his own time, of course, did a lot of research, lot of analysis, came up with a solution, didn't stop there. He persevered at the problem. He took support of the adults around him. He took support of people who can help him out, convinced people, persuaded them to understand why he is doing what he is doing, and then supported the whole cause. This is what we are talking about, how this kid developed ability to innovate and didn't stop, but moved on to actually develop a product that could be marketed and that could actually become something on the market, right? That's what we are talking about. Padmaja, do you want to add another story?
Yeah, we have a lot of young entrepreneurs in India. Um, Innovating a thing is an aspect, is a part, whereas taking it to the next level, taking it to the entrepreneurship role is a different ball game all over. And so now in this slide, in this aspect, we are talking about the young entrepreneurs who have come up, not only innovated, but they have come up, they have taken it forward, and they wanted to promote their products. So like such, we have Avantika, a 17-year-old girl. We don't have the picture here though, but then I was very much impressed with her innovation and the way she has taken up the entrepreneurship. She has created an app because one of the visits, one of the travels during her 9th class, she had gone to Edinburgh, and she has seen that it talks about the history and culture of that particular monument. So then that thought had come to her, why can't we have it in India? So she has created an app which will talk about the monument, the history, the culture about that particular monument wherever we go. Now, after creating this particular app, she had to face few challenges because she is young. She had to make them people believe that this app is very, very interesting. At the same time, this app actually is useful. So that part she has struggled, but she did not give up. She has come up with, she has promoted her product, and now she is right now in, she's pursuing her studies as well as she is promoting her product. Like that, we have one more, Ishant Pundir. He is also 17-year-old. He has created robot which replace waiters. So he is from Himachal Pradesh. He wanted to pursue this. So what he did is after 11th standard, he stopped studying in the regular curriculum, but then he started pursuing different courses. And then he had come up with this particular product. He launched his product, and now he is a successful entrepreneur. So in schools itself, we can start this entrepreneurship, or we can encourage this entrepreneurship or innovation, or the different skills which we are talking about. Like, for example, in one of the schools where I worked, there was a robotics competition. So after the competition, one of the prizes was the robotics organization would be creating a club, a lab, a robotics lab for the school, and the children can join in as a robotics club over there. So the children participated, they have won the prize, and those people have set up a robotics lab. Now, it did not end there. many children who were interested in learning robotics and coding, they have jobs making different products, like for example sensors. When the water rises up in the filter, instead of falling down, they have come up with a sensor. So like that, they have come up with different products. And there was a technological exhibition which was conducted, and they have showcased those products. So this innovation and entrepreneurship skill can be enhanced at the school level itself. One more thing we can talk about is uh, food, the canteen, which works. The canteen, what happens is the food gets wasted, and also the children will not be will take more amount of food and they leave the food. Each and every class, where they have to observe in fact, they have to they are in charge of different tables, and they take care of the food part, like whether the food is getting wasted, they are eating.
I think we have lost Padmaja because of some network issue.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll continue. So moving on to understand what we wanted to discuss about how we can enhance our curriculum in order to accommodate the idea of developing innovation ability in learners. So talking about that, obviously there are big things you can do, but we wanted to focus on how we can start small, in the sense like every teacher within their classroom, because if you look back at the skills that we talked about in the beginning, we talked about how it is important for an individual to be sensitive, how it is important for this individual to empathize with the problems. All these qualities, when you bring about, innovation never actually is a result of just the sciences part of it, because from the outlook it actually looks like that. But we should understand that every discipline, every subject discipline actually is extremely important for individuals or children to develop the whole idea of innovation, and we will try and understand why. A first step for this is every teacher within their classrooms, whether the teacher is a social studies teacher or a science teacher or a math teacher or an English teacher, must always focus on the real life application of whatever it is that they are teaching. Let's say it is an English teacher. If you want to develop ability of your children to be entrepreneurs as they go further, they should know how to communicate their thought to the world. They should know how to communicate and promote their idea in this world. And if they need to develop that ability, they should develop certain amount of persuasive ability within them. So obviously, when you teach persuasive writing, it shouldn't just be about the technical aspect of persuasive writing, but it should be more about how persuasive writing can be used by you when you enter the real world, you see. So what we are saying here is, whether you are a science teacher teaching electricity to children, your topic should never just limit itself to understanding what is electricity, but should focus more on how you can apply your understanding of this topic in the real world, so that tomorrow when you actually the teacher, it will be great if the teacher can extend this whole learning to the level where the teacher will enable children to go look around and see what are the problems around you in this context and how you can actually think of solutions. Not all the time they can come up with solutions, but at least the thought process must begin. So what we are trying to say is, let's say a social studies teacher, we might always wonder how do you think a social studies teacher could actually promote innovation in classroom. But then let's talk about this very kid that we talked about in the previous stories. whether it was the first kid we talked about, the Bangalore kid or Avantika or whoever. These are children who are understanding their responsibility in this world as world citizens, because social studies is such kind of a subject where you are learning about the world around you, whether it is the geographical aspects or the societal aspects or whatever. And this is the very subject that can teach you how it is important to be sensitive to the world around you, to the problems around you, not just the technical aspects. So the first step begins with teachers showing the real life application of learning within their own subjects and why it matters in real world. If every teacher can do that part and plan their lessons such that they bring about that whole idea of real life application in their lessons, that is step one for innovation. And then we also felt certain other ways, obviously curriculum could enhance, like let's say a school is opting for a program like Shimilli. That is a second level of enhancement where you can actually bring about experts who are actually working with skills. They can give you very, very real life approach to how you can actually develop the skills in these children. And that is level 2. Apart from that, what else can the schools do to enhance curriculum? Padmaja, do you want to talk about how other ways can be implemented in the schools with regards to whether it is clubs or, like you said, exhibitions, how they can contribute to developing abilities to innovate in children? You must unmute.
I would like to do that, but can you allow me?
Yeah, sure. You are already in the meet. We can see you.
Device. So can you allow me to unmute?
Sure.
Craig, could you please help her? Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, sorry about it. So I was just talking about the different ways the children can be encouraged in the innovative process by schools as well. So the clubs play a very important role. If you take canteen, or if you take library, robotics club, because in one of the schools where I work, we have they have come up with a competition, robotics competition, and if they win, they providing a robotics club. So the children have participated and they have won the club, and it didn't stop there. They joined the club. They have come up with very good innovations. For example, a sensor which will detect if the water is rising in the filter when the water is when the motor is started and water is filled in the tank. So if the water falls down, a sensor is attached to it, so that the water wastage can be reduced. So these kinds of innovations they have come up with, and not only that, when a technological exhibition was conducted, they have showcased their products. So this is how the innovations can be encouraged by schools. But I was talking about canteen as well. That is where the most of the food wastage happens. So what we have done is we have kept monitors who are seniors to that particular class, and their work is to talk with the children, understand their needs, requirements, and also avoid wastage of food. Sometimes what happens, children get excited seeing a lot of spread. They take a lot of food and it gets wasted. So these monitors will take care of it. They talk with them, and also they would be noting down what are the healthy foods these kids like, so that it can be implemented in their menu. So these kinds of responsible aspects or programs which are given to the activities given to the students will really help them to come up with their innovativeness, creativeness, and also they will understand every aspect of it. Then comes, we can also include internship projects. So here, am I audible? Okay, so coming to the internship projects, I would like to give a real-time example, because what we feel is, me and Rachna, if we give real-time examples which has been implemented or which has been executed by children and the schools, it connects well. to the audience. And also every time the teacher gets a doubt that how can it be implemented with the time frame of the syllabus completion and other constraints which are existing. So we can one best solution is making use of the clubs. The other best solution could be including internship programs. So my daughter, she had to take up the internship program when she was in 9th grade. So it was an interesting program because she has got a project to understand about the packages, how the packages are made, how the cartons are made. So we have gone to that particular industry. She had understood the process of making the packages. Not only that, the complete process, procurement of the raw materials, processing of the things, and the end result. So in this process, she had to understand what should be the raw material requirement. It should not be in excess, nor it should be less. So how to get it, what is the reorder level, and how far the inventory can be procured. If it is kept for a lot of inventory is kept, again, it is not useful. So these are the different aspects she has gone through. And also the cost, how the prices are being decided. So they have to calculate the raw material cost, the power cost, the machinery, the processing, the manual, the labor. Everything has to be calculated to come up to the final price. And how is the transportation done? How are the orders taken? So these are the different aspects they learn. So this is just an example. So just one internship program will enlighten them, will make them understand what is the process which is happening in real time. Because in books, in case studies, we learn a lot, but when they see the real time implementation, that is what they learn better, they experience better. That is one more aspect, or you can say one more way of encouraging children of innovativeness and entrepreneurship. And this also will make them identify their careers, because career choices, or choosing a career is a very important aspect in child. So when they are exposed to these kinds of platforms, these kinds of areas, then they understand, and it becomes easy for them to choose the career. Yes, Rachna, you would like to add, no?
Yeah, I just wanted to add about how one other aspect of this whole engagement, where children can get an opportunity to participate in clubs, or whether they get to take it up as a project and then extend the project into an internship. One other advantage of such kind of engagement towards innovation is that children get to work as teams. They can get to work with experts of different disciplines, and that enables them to get that interdisciplinary kind of vision towards solving real life problems. So they will learn to look at multiple facets of a problem and how it can be approached differently in order to resolve it better. So when teachers in a school act like mentors, we say, right, the difference between teachers, facilitators, mentors. So when teachers can take it up as mentorship for these children, and bring the whole scenario of where you are actually forming clubs, or you are actually enabling these children to get external exposure through a project and go to an internship to extend it further, you are letting them get an advantage of more than one mentor from more than one subject, and they're getting to work with different people, getting exposure of various fields at the same time. That is one other aspect I wanted to just bring about. Then Padmaja, do you want to talk about the next part? That is the last thing. What is a 360-degree approach that
before that, I would like to add one more aspect the interdisciplinary aspect which we were talking about. Here I would like to give an example where we have gone to an industry, plastic to petrol. So in this aspect, if a child wants to um, innovate or do something in terms of these aspects, what happens is it is not just science involved over there, it is math involved over there, and also when they have to promote the project, the communication skills plays an important role, so English is involved. So this is a very good aspect when they are taken to these kinds of field trips. So one of the field trip, I would like to mention this example, plastic to petrol, because this is a unique one. So here we had taken the children over to this particular plant where they convert the plastic which is available into petrol. Not only that, the best part out of it is there is no pollution, there is no outlet for this particular plant because nothing gets wasted. So when children get to see these kinds of plants or these kinds of projects, what happens is, one is they understand the process, they understand one more aspect, that is, it is not just one subject or one part which is involved in it, it is a culmination of different aspects or different subjects. And also the other aspect is sustainability. They learn the sustainability of the environment, the environmental friendly products to be used, how we can avoid polluting the environment. So these kinds of empathizing, so these kinds of factors or these kinds of skills are also inculcated in them. So one more aspect of encouraging innovativeness and entrepreneurship is taking children to these kinds of field trips. Yeah, Rachna, you would like to add anything else?
No, not really. I think we are running out of time. So let's talk about the last aspect, the 360-degree approach, and then.
Yes. So 360-degree approach is nothing but including all the aspects and taking up the entrepreneurship. So as we have mentioned earlier, it is not just innovation which is required, it is also bringing up the entrepreneurship, that is taking the innovation to the next level. So how does it happen? It is not like we have created a product some 5 years ago and we will continue with that particular product. We need to continuously update ourselves, understand the requirements of the customers or the consumers, and go ahead with it. So this requires a lot of perseverance and patience, and also a lot of critical and analytical thinking. And of course, creativity is an added bonus to it. So since I am into the entrepreneurship role right now, I have a healthcare business. So I thought I'll take my example and explain it. So when we have started it with a pharmacy, but right now we have expanded it. Why we have expanded it? Because we have a vision. That is one more important aspect in entrepreneurship. We should have a vision. So when we have to work, when we are into creating products, when we are into delivering it, we should also have a vision which will help us to look forward. What is next? What is the future? How can we achieve it? So the vision for us was to give a 360-degree service to the patient or the person who comes to us. Like for example, if a patient comes to for the consultation, not only it stops over there. If the doctor prescribes some medicines, we would be giving them from our pharmacy. Any tests, the diagnostics is available for us, or any kind of further treatment, we can refer to the hospital. And if the patient is suffering from some orthopedic ailments, the patient can be diverted to the physiotherapist. So all these things happen at a single place. The person need not run around 10 different places. That is the vision which we have started. So there are n number of pharmacies which are available, but what we have understood is the requirement of the person, requirement of the residents in the community, and how we can provide them services at their comfort level. So what I meant to say is uniqueness also plays an important role in entrepreneurship. So the other best example I can give is Shark Tank, which we all have watched. Different people have come up with different products, but very few products were accepted because of their uniqueness. What is the next thing? It should not get dissolved at that particular level. It should be challenging. It should go ahead. They should have a plan. They should have a vision, and the product should be unique and according to the requirements. If we are preparing something which is not required by the customers or the consumers, then it is like wasting our resources. So that aspect also will be learned by the students once they get into these kinds of internship programs. That is why many companies, they offer the internship, they offer the training before taking them into the roles, before taking them in, because one is they need to understand the process real time, though they must have learned in through books, but practically they have to learn it. So these aspects play an important role. So by giving them platform, by exposing them to these kinds of options, will really help them to become a better entrepreneurs. Yeah, Rachna, over to you.
I just wanted to talk about why it matters. This 360-degree approach is because every individual around these children, whether it is the teachers, the parents, the school itself, or for that matter, the government itself, must understand or comply with the importance of why it matters in today's world, because we certainly don't belong to the industrial era anymore. We have moved far ahead of that. So today's world needs more innovators, and that's what we have. And very interestingly, like Padmaja said, parents and schools can promote it, but we also have government, Indian government also promoting it through programs like I've read about the Million Minds Augmenting National Aspirations and Knowledge Program, that is MANAK program, Atal Innovation Mission program, Young Entrepreneur Scheme, that is Yes India scheme. These are various ways through which the government is promoting it. But the bigger picture here we need to understand is, obviously we cannot expect every child in every household to become an innovator. It might be difficult, but what matters most importantly is what they demonstrate. Are they being sensitive to problems? Are they actually responding to these problems? Or for that matter, if they fail, they try and they fail, are they being resilient enough? Are they persevering at what they are doing? So we should also understand that it's not always about those big achievements, that every kid cannot do what these kids that we talked about in examples we did. But then every kid clearly can demonstrate these attitudes and skills that can lead to innovation. So what I'm saying is, you don't have to see anything tangible from every kid, but you can always certainly make every child understand why it is important to persevere, or enable them to persevere at whatever they do, or try to be resilient when they try something and fail, and then try again and see if it works better next time. And one other aspect,
include them. Just I would like to add an example to this resilience and responsibility. We could actually give them the budget at home. It can start from home itself. The budget making them understand the cost, the monthly expenses, their educational costs. If they want to pursue further, what would be the cost? What would be the requirement? And is it achievable, or what is it that they have to do it, to achieve it. So these kinds of aspects should be discussed with the children. The financial aspects also should be discussed, because as parents, we feel that we want to give them comfort, we want to make them comfortable by not discussing or knowing them the hardships which we are going through. But then it is very, very important to discuss them about these financial discussions, financial decisions, and making them understand that how much is what we can afford, or what is it that is expected. So that way the child also becomes responsible and understand, and then go ahead further or move ahead in that direction. Yeah, Rachna.
Probably just the last thing that I wanted to say was, why 360 again is because at the end of the day, they're all children. They will not know everything under the sun. So mentorship and guidance is what they need. So when adults come into picture, they'll be able to let these children make their idea more purpose oriented. They can enable these children to take it further by teaching them how they can continuously develop this product with more creativity. What we talk about is that continuous creative development of a given product. That process is more effective when there is an adult mentorship involved. So as a community, as adults in the community, as parents or teachers or educators, or actually people in the field who can take up role as mentors, and governments, all of us play a very, very important role in enabling thinking of innovation and entrepreneurship in children. So that's probably what I wanted to close with. Thank you. And before we conclude, we will certainly would love to discuss if anybody has anything to bring up and discuss. But thank you so much, Shiminli, for letting us, share our thoughts about this whole topic.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Ruchira and Craig.
Yeah, thank you, Ruchira. Thank you, Greg. It's now open to audience.
I think as one of your audience who's really enjoyed this kind of learning that has happened today, I would want to, just thank you for bringing in such a thoughtful and such a very well sequenced piece with us. Because I could very clearly see what skills do we need to develop in our students and classes to make them entrepreneurs for tomorrow. And it's important that we identify those skills as educators, as teachers, as their adults itself, as parents, that these are the skills that the child would need for different activities that you've spoken about. And one very important point that I really liked, Padmaja, you spoke about that. It's important that they learn to face failures, because only when they fail with certain things while they are in their school levels, they would want to understand and accept failures at later stage of lives, because life is all about success and failures and problems coming into their way, and the way Rachna spoke about the step-by-step processes of problem solving. I think that is something that really makes me think back as an educator and implement those things in classes. Thank you so much, Rachna and Padmaja. I think this was very enlightening for me as an educator. If there are any other participants who would want to talk to us about this, it will be great. Your inputs make a difference. So I think we have a little maybe participants who are winding up their week, a hectic week on a Friday, so do not hear from them. Okay, then maybe we can close. Craig, you can go ahead.
Yeah, thank you so much, Padmaja, for the beautiful insights. I mean, there was a lot of learning that I personally learned, and there was a lot of connection that I could make with whatever you were talking about. And this brings us to the point that in case, if to our audience, if you're seeking any form of support to integrate skills into your classroom, you have a companion, Shiminli. Well, talk a bit about it. Shiminli offers free demo workshop for students to understand the program better. In case you look forward to connect with us, the details will be shared in the mail that shall be sent to you post this webinar. I request all the participants to fill in the feedback form in the chat box for us to understand how far the objective of the session was met, and also be able to plan further sessions. Before I close the session for the day, I would once again like to thank Shiminli and urge you all to have a look at the programs offered by Shiminli, which I'm sure will act as a supportive tool for you to bring skill-based learning into your classrooms. For any questions, please feel free to write to us at collaborate@shiminli.com. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend ahead.
Thanks, Greg. Thanks, everyone. Have a great weekend. See you all soon.
Thank you so
Bye.
much.